Yes, it is Wednesday. It is noon Eastern Time. And if you're seeing us, it means that the technical issues are kept at bay for the moment. It is the High Noon Hemp Show. We're on the Hemptations Beach Facebook page. We're on the Jedi Hemp YouTube channel. We're also on Twitter at Hemptations, podcasting in various places Podbean, Google, iHeartRadio. Everywhere you hear and view things, you can hear and view us. I am Joe Clare. You can Google me. The man himself, high above the Hemptations in Sharonville at the Hemp Quarters. It is Beach, the start of season 6. How are things in the world of Hemptations at this auspicious beginning?
Things are good. Yeah, season 6. Welcome everyone to episode 1. We finished the last season 5, with just some crazy technical difficulties, but we're happy to be back with our fancy pictures and our graphics and all that good stuff. Makes us look all official and all that.
That's right. Look at this.
So welcome everybody.
Bam.
Welcome. A lot of news. Yeah, lots coming up later. I can tell you that there's a lot of stuff going on in the hemp world, it seems like. But I am happy to be here. It is high noon, or I wouldn't be here on the High Noon Hemp Show. I am Beach. That is Joe. We are here. Local stuff. The FDA has, they've made this big announcement, and really it's just setting some labeling rules. No different than what it was before. CBD is a supplement, not a dietary supplement. It's not a dietary supplement. Okay, it's really just its thing. To be honest with you, we just call it CBD and be done with it. Obviously we can't give medical claims. The reason you can't call it a dietary supplement is because the FDA is saying it has not been approved. I talked about this last week, as generally regarded as safe. GRAS is the rating, because there isn't enough about it, I should say, in its purest form, or when it's broken down into high traces. Obviously CBD is naturally occurring in hemp foods, trace amounts. Again, it's, if anything, I'm not even sure really if there is CBD in hemp food. There's no THC in the seed. I don't know if there's any CBD in the seed, or any CBD in the seed. Most more than likely not, honestly. If you eat the leafy greens, probably hemp leaf greens, that may contain some naturally occurring CBD. Hemp is GRAS. It is generally ruled as safe by the FDA. So hemp foods, that was a part of the battle at one point or another, is proving that hemp food was in fact GRAS, so to speak, generally regarded as safe in the eyes of the FDA. So we're kind of seeing some flashback on that what the FDA is. It really hasn't changed anything. You can't put it in a food product and say that it has any type of dietary properties.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you can't put it in a food product necessarily. You just can't label, CBD is this or that. I'm not sure how that's all going to break down. So we're going to see how that all works out when it comes to really just some labeling stuff. And the whole thing here is someone needs to prove that CBD is in fact GRAS, generally regarded as safe. The problem is the FDA comes out and they make a statement that says people are under the false assumption that it won't hurt. And again, that sounds really, again, why would you say it like that? Either say it does hurt or it doesn't hurt, but don't say that we're confused about the fact that it doesn't hurt. What kind of advice is that from the FDA, honestly? And so, and again, part of that was because when they were approving the inhaler for children with seizure problems, this is an inhaler for children with seizure problems with CBD, they saw that CBD could damage the liver in mice, possibly. And so they approved the drug. But now they're telling us all of a sudden that, we may be in trouble. And so, obviously, let's get some legitimate medical studies out there. CBD is legal. It's not on the controlled substance list. There is no reason why we shouldn't have legitimate medical studies now to prove or disprove these one way or another. So let's get on that, and then you know we can start putting stuff on the label that the doctors have proven is true to the FDA. In Ohio is still taking, or they're going to have a one-day comment availability to anyone in Ohio, or anyone, I suppose, that has an interest in the hemp farming in Ohio. And that's on December 18th at 9 a.m. at the Ohio Department of Agriculture building in Reynoldsburg. And again, if I mention an event, I will put that event on the second page of hemptations.com. I think it's the about page, and that's where we put the events that I talk about that we're not a part of, but it's going on out there, so you can check that. But we do have a lot of news to get to, so let's get on through our pictures, our lovely pictures, starting with the product spotlight. I really am kind of excited about these. We tried to get some of the stuff out there over the last couple of weeks, but it made my job easier today anyway, for the most part. But the koozies, the hemp koozies, everybody loves a koozie to keep their drink cold in the summer, or maybe warm in the winter. I'm not sure how that would work, but I'm sure you can put your. It's the first Wednesday of the month too. I hear the alarms going off. The High Noon Hemp Show's on.
Celebration.
Show's on. So it must be noon. But anyway, the hemp koozies, we just got these in. They have different little sayings on them that are kind of fun one way or another. So those are out in all the stores. Well, I think we're going to have to order more, because I saw one of the stores only had a couple left one way or another.
Wow.
The next product is one that everyone, I think, should be excited about and can be excited about, and that's the hemp straws. They finally came in. And so you can buy a pack of 5, you can buy a pack of 10, or you can buy a box of 20, or a box of 100, I'm sorry. And all available. These are biodegradable, postable. I'm pretty sure they're reusable, so they're not going to just deteriorate after first use. But I think you can get multiple uses out of them as well. And then again, when you're done with it, just throw it out in the backyard if you want, and it'll break down, go back to nature just like it was intended to, and do no harm to the planet or yourself, or whatever the drink is that you may be drinking. So we're excited. I think that the 5 and 10 packs will be in the stores by Friday. I believe the 100 pack boxes should be out already in the stores. But the 5 and 10 packs will be out for sure by Friday. The next one is just a nice little pouch, little zipper pouch, padded zipper pouch by Hemp Star. Of course, we keep the padded zipper pouches quite in stock. And again, Hemp Star, they've been around for quite a while. We love carrying their products. That is for sure. And the fact that it is, in fact, wintertime brings us to the Planet Everywhere headbands. Again, these are made locally at Planet Everywhere. And so if you want to keep your ears and your head warm, come on and get one of those Planet Everywhere headbands. Now, the next picture, the picture from my door, as I say, 4 from the store, 1 from my door. This next one was actually taken 2 weeks ago, but this is a picture of the 100 hats that I wore for 100 days. And so a different hemp hat for 100 days, and this is all of them. That being said, I am still wearing a different hemp hat every day, and so I'm up to roughly 114 or so at this point, because this picture was taken 2 weeks ago. And so this is just, once again, I wore 100 different hats for 100 days, and I'm still doing that. I'm trying to wear every hemp hat I have without doubling up and go as long as I can. And so, that's one of my hat racks from the house, from my door that I have to keep my hemp hats organized and safe.
A little behind the
That's
scenes.
about it. So behind the scenes.
That's right.
So there you have it. 4 from the store, 1 from my door on the product spotlight. And now I know the segment that I think most of you have probably missed, according to Joe.
People have been clamoring. There has been a clamor, a general uproar, if you will, for the last couple of weeks. People going through withdrawals. They don't know what to wear. They don't know what they're doing. But things can now be centered again with the return of the beachwear segment, where we ask the most important question you'll hear all day, and with the most important answer you'll hear all day. What are you wearing beach?
That's right. If you woke up or you're just waking up now and you say, "What are you wearing, beach?" Now you will know. Today, as you can see, I've got my grassroots love and light hat. Love the grassroots. I think everybody knows that. You go back to that picture. I'm sure there's plenty of grassroots hats in that picture of hats. I've got a long sleeve shirt that I don't remember who made it. I've had it so long, the label is worn out. So I'm not sure who made just the natural long sleeve shirt that I have on underneath my Patagonia short sleeve button down. And so if you don't know, Patagonia has a whole line of hemp clothing now. So you can go to their website, I'm sure, and buy that shirt, that very shirt, if you like it, from them. My Orvis jeans, which I've been, and I don't know jeans if they're tan like that. It is jean material, I suppose. Jean is kind of a weave as much as it is anything. And so, again, that's Orvis, the big name. They probably can go to their website and see if they've got any of their Orvis hemp pants available right now. My Green Springs Technology pen sticking out of my pocket there if you look closely. I got some I Love Bad briefs, and that was those are Amazon purchases. The Satori Blue Leaf socks, along with the Saucony Jazz shoes. And again, I believe the Jazz line is in fact a vegan line made using hemp and other vegan products to hold it together, so to speak. And so if you woke up this morning saying, "Hey, Beach, what are you wearing?" Now you know. On the High Noon Hemp Show.
Now you can go
Ho,
about
ho,
your
ho.
day. More
Yeah,
confidence.
that's it. Just turn off the show now. We don't even need to get to the news. You've seen what I've got on.
That's right. That's all they come
Exciting
for.
days. Yeah, that's all they come for.
The
I'll
eye
take it.
candy.
That's right.
Come for the eye candy, stay for the
Thanks,
information. Good
everyone,
news.
coming for the eye candy. It's true. And again, I've got quite a bit of news to talk about today. I'm sure we'll get to some events. The events I try to, once again, put up on the second page of the Hemptations website. You can go, or I'm sorry, you can email the USDA at farmbill.hemp@usda.gov and request a copy of the license application. This is kind of interesting because the USDA is still taking comments, which I implore everyone to find out how you can get your comment to the USDA on hemp farming. The couple issues that the DEA needs to be left out of it. That's probably the biggest issue, in my opinion, honestly. I think you want to try to get them, give them the idea that we'd rather see 1% THC. As far as upping that THC content, but request a copy of the license and then see what you see on that maybe. And either way, they're going to be taking comments till the end of the month, and so if you're a hemp farmer, and I know a lot of hemp farmers are they're not too happy about it. So do some commenting to them in the process. The big New York seizure that the cops were so proud about. Well, we found out that yes, it was industrial hemp. The charges were supposed to be dropped, and now none of that's happened. And so I think just this week, the owners of the hemp went to court expecting it to be thrown out, and it wasn't, and they weren't expecting that. I don't believe that they are giving them back their hemp, and so they're probably going to go out of business. And this is really strong arm of the law right here. Again, where they proved that it was industrial hemp, and now the police are just hemming and hawing long enough to put the people out of business, and then go from there because they don't care. Sometimes it's a funny game that the law plays, but because they can do that by saying, well, even if it's been tested, we still have to go to court. They've been charged with something, but and again, they should have been dropped in court, and for some reason it wasn't, and we don't really know what happened there. And so this is a big deal where I really feel like the law enforcement's just playing with these people's livelihoods because they don't care, and really because they have egg on their face.
Yeah.
They were all super proud, posting this picture of this big bust, chests a bulging, and then they got immediately lambasted because they didn't have the facts straight. And again, for the sake of sake, police have to understand they can't tell the difference now. And so, one is innocent before proven guilty. It's the way it's supposed to go. And although these people had to prove that they were innocent, they're still saying that they're guilty. So we'll see. We will keep following it. Short is not right. We've had a drying facility close in Pennsylvania already, a hemp drying facility by the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection due to the fact that they didn't have the right licenses. I don't know what the problem was there. They were warned. But that is a big deal to the CBD industry because drying facilities are becoming very important to fight mold, which we're seeing a problem with in cannabis across the board. If you're using cannabis in the flower form, if the cannabis is not dried properly, then it can have mold spores in it. And obviously, we shouldn't be ingesting mold spores, no more than we should probably be ingesting smoke for that matter. But, and so we're seeing a lot of cannabis across the country testing positive for mold. And that is 100% a drying issue. If you're fast to package or you're fast to cut up and put in an airtight container, then you better make sure that the moisture's out of it because it will get moldy. That is something that it's been around for a long time, and experienced people understand that. And that's why, once again, drying facilities are a huge industrial hemp processing facility or drying facility. They are a drying facility, which is part of properly processing your industrial hemp if you're growing for the flower, is to make sure that it's dried completely before it is packaged, or it will get moldy. And it's not even drying completely; it's drying in the right environment as well. And so that's what we're seeing. Good news: banking is now unrestricted for hemp officially. Again, I don't know why they had to pass some special legislation. Again, I want to reiterate, it doesn't mean that banks have to do business with hemp people. It just means that they can now and not have the fear of the government contribution as far as it being drug money. Any money that's the cannabis, any money that's taken in by cannabis that's not hemp is still considered basically drug money because it is federally on the controlled substance list. Obviously, industrial hemp is off the controlled substance list, so the banking industry should, and some banks are, some banks aren't, or were or weren't before, but now the government's made it official. They've put it on paper. You're okay to take in and give to hemp businesses as long as they're hemp businesses. So there's probably guidelines the banks should look for. There'll be a form to fill out that, just like my advertisers are coming up with now, they'll make you sign something that says your business is industrial hemp related, that you don't sell these things, you don't do this stuff, you don't, that's how I'm sure the banks, now that this is opened up, will be doing once again, just to kind of double up on the legality of it in their own eyes. But now the federal government has said you have nothing to fear. So, I wonder if Huntington's going to get back with me and give me my accounts back that were unhemp related to begin with. I wouldn't do business with them again if they begged me. Um, and so, anyway, some more bad news out of Canada. It looks like what we thought was going to be a record breaking hemp year in Canada has, in fact, turned out to be um, hampered by bad weather. I guess they got that big. The same thing that snowed on us probably whenever it was here in Cincinnati a couple, 3 weeks ago. That was a decent winter storm. It's like we went straight from summer to a winter storm. I think that winter storm must have hit Canada pretty bad. And so it's affecting, I think it's probably affecting the maturation, the maturity of the hemp seed. Because it's obviously, in its full potential of growing the seed as it's becoming done. And then I'm guessing that because of that, basically the plants just shut down. And so it's probably inferior size. It's probably, I don't know if it would be inferior in amount, so to speak. I just think it'd probably affect the size of the seeds. Which is, from my understanding now, what they do with that is then they sell it to the European bird food industries. And I believe if you look even now, and I don't know if it's listed or not, but I remember even 10, 15 years ago, I looked at a bag of exotic bird seed, and it had hemp seed in it. And obviously, we've known for a long time that hemp seed is good for birds because birds love hemp seed. And so the rumor was that the fairies that were in the caves to sing and let the miners know when the gases were building up, the supposedly at some point, I'm sure this was something in Jack's book. The canaries sang better, louder when they were fed hemp seed. And I think it's when the canaries stopped singing that they knew to get out. And I don't know if that's because they died because of the gases or they just stopped singing because of the gases. But that's what that was an indicator used back in the day. Canaries in the coal mine to somehow give them some type of indication. And the rumor is if you fed them hemp seed, then they sang louder and better when they were singing, one way or another. Which ironically leads right into the next kind of the next kind of funny thing is I'm seeing all kinds of articles about how, and it seems like it's interesting that this is, and again, it's probably been going on for a while. We're just now hearing about it, but not a lot, but some Europeans are ending up growing cannabis in their flower gardens where their bird feeders are because there's hemp seed in the bird feed. And so I've seen a couple articles recently where these European people are like, oh, I don't even know what plant that is. And all of a sudden it turns out to be a cannabis plant. And it's because there's hemp seed in the bird seed. And pay attention to that. They just feed their birds the bird seed and everybody's happy. But now somehow unsterilized seed is making it in there. And therefore these hemp plants are popping up. So if you want to grow some cannabis, get yourself some exotic bird feed, maybe throw it out in the yard and see what happens. No, don't do that. Not until cannabis is off the controlled substance list everywhere and all the laws have changed.
Yes, you'll have
I
it
don't want to
knocking your
give
door.
anybody some bad advice. But put some bird feeders near your cannabis where you're growing them, so when the police do show up, you can say, I think it was in the bird seed.
That's right.
I don't know. I think it's a good argument in court anyway now. There is precedent. So, what's not an alibi? I'm not giving out alibis. Um,
We could get cited in a court
let's see.
case. Like
We
this
could.
information is
That's
via the
right.
High Noon Hemp Show, season 6.
That's right. It's true.
Be called to testify.
It's. I guess I might be, and if they did, I'd have to say yes, it's true. So let them go. I am an expert, I would guess. I
Expert
don't know.
witness, absolutely.
I would call myself an expert on anything. Um, like I said, the USD is taking comments till the end of the year. This is kind of fun. I didn't post the pictures. I'll try to get the pictures up. There were a couple outfits, but as much as this is an event, this is kind of news, and I will add it to the event segment eventually. But in March, and I'm not sure positively, I want to say Lexington, but there's going to be a fashion show called the Future of Fashion 2020. And this will include the Sarah Jane Estes Design Competition. And for this to win the Sarah Jane Estes Design Competition, your material must be 60% hemp or greater. And so all the fashion people out there, if you know someone that's in the fashion and they want to make some hemp clothing and maybe win a little money. The prize is $1,000 and a feature in Sophisticated Living magazine.
Wow.
And so I think this is really neat. For one thing, really cool. And I think that we could really get a lot of interest from the fashion community because this is legit. And so again, I'll put this on the list and give you guys some more information. But it's going to be in March. It's going to be in Kentucky. It's called the Future of Fashion 2020. And it will include the Sarah Jane Estes design competition material, which again, you have to have 60% or more in your material just to be included. And so get out there, find your hemp fabric. It's all over the place. The article talked about hemp traders. We've been dealing with hemp traders since we opened. They are one of the largest suppliers of hemp fabric in the world, if not definitely the United States. And then you have Enviro Textiles. They are right up there. They probably, compete with each other with the amount of hemp fabric that they have available to offer the country. Again, we've been dealing with them for a long time as well, and their products. And there's a couple more. Places out there where you can, have a selection of material, blends, weaves, all kinds of things. As far as hemp fiber, just make sure it's 60% or more, or you will not be able to be in the Future of Fashion 2020 Sarah Jane Estes Design Competition. 60% or more.
I would hope if there's a need of runway models that Beach will be contacted regarding his availability for the show.
They only showed women's clothing, but I agree that if you want to make an outfit for a 6'5", 190-pound male, I would be happy to walk the runway in your outfit in the competition. No doubt about that. And so it has to be original. But no matter what it is, I'm putting myself out there, I suppose, because the one outfit that they show in the picture, and I'll show it later, has these really weird looking hand, like cummerbund looking kind of part of the dress. It looks kind of weird. The other dress, the silk one's just unbelievably beautiful, honestly. And the other outfit is a little out there, but that's the fashion industry too. And so you make it, I'll wear it for the Sarah Jane Estes design competition.
There we go.
That's for sure. I hope it's not just women. It was mostly women wearing all that, but I would love to see some menswear in there too. I know it's being judged. One of the judges is a famous model, supposedly. I believe she's from the Lexington area, but a famous model as well. And so, Future of Fashion 2020 in Kentucky. And again, I'll put that on the website, and I'll give you more information about that the more that I come across information about that, because I think that's inspiring for the hemp clothing and the hemp fiber part of it all, which is what inspired me to really get in to the hemp business 24, 23 or so, however many years ago it was a while. 24 is the rumor. 23 is the rumor, actually. 24 next year. I don't know. I can't do math anymore. I shouldn't have to try. I saw an article out there, and it was like 4 things to give your soup more content or something. I forget how that was labeled. But the number one trick to turning a bowl of soup into a protein-packed, fiber-filled meal, there it is, was blend in hemp. 2 to 3 tablespoons adds about 11 grams of complete protein. So if it's a thick soup that's can be blended, you can blend it in. I also saw where they just kind of sprinkled hemp seed, hulled hemp seed over the top of the soup as well. And so once again, hemp is one of, if not, it's the second highest protein for plant-based that exists. And so adding it to any food is going to give you protein. It's also the perfect ratio of omega-6 to omega-3s, as well as other vitamins and minerals. Fiber if you use the whole seed. And so, these people know what they're talking about. I would highly recommend that the next creamy soup you make, blend in some whole hemp seed. You won't really notice it, but nutritionally, you'll be giving your body a little boost because it's good for you. Some more good news: $3.2 million grant from the National Institute of Standards and Technology awarded to Troy University. And they're doing multiple things, all environmentally related, but one of the specific projects is going to be the study of using hemp fiber to reinforce plastics. And of course, I saw something recently and someone said there is no hemp plastic. And apparently, by definition, that may be true because plastic has to be synthetic, which to me is like, if you can, it's an interesting conundrum by definitions. And so I feel like I'm going to, maybe start a new word that someone's probably already trademarked, but hemp plaz. We'll call it hemp plaz. If it's a substitute for hemp plastic, we can call it hemp plaz. Now, I think here they're actually talking about incorporating hemp fiber, probably short fiber, into the making the plastic, so to speak, or in parts of incorporating it into the molding or the making of synthetic plastic. And so either way, we'll see what happens. I'm sure they're going to prove that it's better, especially environmentally, probably holds up to all the standards. It'll be interesting. It could be the first actual hemp plastic material. I guess now it's a composite. That's why we don't want to call really hemp plastic because it's hemp composite material. And so, but this is actually to study adding hemp fiber in with plastic to see how that affects multiple things, I would assume. And so good for Troy University. It's going to take place over a couple, 3 years, so we may not get our results for a while, but when we're here, like season, 20, if we're still here, maybe we'll talk about the results that Troy University comes up with. The last story in the news is kind of funny. I saw an article that blamed the Christmas tree shortage on hemp. They were saying that because there is a Christmas tree shortage. So I don't want to laugh about that because it's true. But I totally lost. Shouldn't look at my screen when it's telling me something when I'm doing the show. There is a Christmas tree shortage. The article was implying that it's because farmers are growing hemp and not Christmas trees is why the shortage is out there. Christmas tree shortage started before we were growing hemp. And when I say it started before we were growing hemp, when the economy took a dive, there weren't as many Christmas trees planted. That's why they're saying the 8 to 10 footers are going to go quick this year. So if you're one of those people that believe a tree should be grown to be cut down and then put in your house and then thrown away, I hope there's not a whole lot of you here. But if you are, get out there and get your 8 to 10 footer now, because they're going to go quick. And that's because we're obviously in that stage of growth. It takes like 10 years to grow a Christmas tree to probably that tall. That's why the shortage actually started when they didn't grow the trees 10 years ago. It has nothing to do with farmers growing industrial hemp. Ohio is the largest, or one of the largest producers of Christmas trees in the entire country. And so we haven't started growing any hemp in Ohio yet. But so it really shouldn't affect the Ohio ones, period. But no, there is a Christmas tree shortage. No, it is not hemp related. Hemp cannot take the fault for this. And you know, move on with your fake tree, which makes more sense, I suppose, than cutting down a tree anyway, which is, to me, has always seemed like a ridiculous idea. All right, on to maybe a couple events here. What's going on in December? Today, we've got the Hemp Summit in Louisville. It's going to be interesting to see what comes out of that. This weekend, the December 7th, we get the Farm and Extract Tour down in Weaverville, North Carolina. So if you're down in Weaverville, around the Weaverville area, check out the Farm and Extract. December 18th, this is the Department of Agriculture, the 9 a.m. call in Reynoldsburg, Ohio, at the Broomfield Administration Building for anyone that wants to give your comments directly to the Ohio Department of Agriculture. That's where, when, and where. December 19th, you got the Kentucky HIA Trade Show and Conference down in Murray, Kentucky. Now, again, all these events will be, if not already, placed on the second page of the hemptations.com website, as well as a bunch of stuff that's going on next year. We've already seen more stuff for January and February, which I'll get to in the next couple shows for sure. I do have a question that I forgot last week. I do want to get to. Amy, one of our top fans, one of our big viewers, she states, we have a historical building being demolished. Ground is probably contaminated. How can I get Norwood to decontaminate that area with a hemp field? That would be legal under the Farm Bill, correct? That may be legal under the Farm Bill, but it won't be legal under the Ohio laws. And the reason that I say that is, most more than likely, I would have to see where the building is, what surrounds it. But you've got the hemp field can't be within 100 feet of a building rule. And then you've also got the hemp field can't be within 1,000 feet, I think, or 500, might only be 500 or 1,000 feet of a school. And so, obviously, Norwood being a very populated, I know that that's where this is, Norwood, Ohio, being a very populated area, I don't know if we'd be able to get around the 100-foot rule, other than, you know, technically speaking, you could walk off 100 feet in from every building and then make sure that's only where the hemp field was going to be. So I guess the answer technically could be yes. But it really depends on the surrounding area of this building. All in all, I think that, you know, my best advice, and, you know, I wish you were sitting there to take it, was, you know, go to city council and talk to them, talk to somebody that, you know, I know, you know, who's in and who's not. But again, if I was giving this advice to anyone, I would say go to the city and ask them. Go to the housing and or the somebody like that maybe, and just be like, look, it's legal. We can do it. You guys own the property, but you could, this could be something where, it could decontaminate and maybe even do it under a pilot program. So it makes it a study, so that the results can be accepted in the community, which I think would be great. So again, my advice to anyone out there with a project similar to this would go to the city. Um, you know, I know I know how they are there, but you never know. You never know how they're going to embrace it. Take them the proof, take them the showings that prove that hemp works as a phytoremediator. There are some studies out there that were done somewhere at a contaminated nuclear site that showed that hemp did in fact remove, decontaminate, so to speak, the soil. And so it'd be great to do something here, knowing that that soil is destructive now, and being able to study it. And so, I'd be happy to go to the city with you, Amy, talk to Norwood, and see if we can convince them to do this next year, for sure. They'll probably fence it in just because they'll want to keep people off of it, even if it is demolished. And so, that would solve that problem right away. It's a great idea for a project. If you're anywhere in the world and you know that there's ground that's probably messed up and not safe to grow anything to be consumed on, find out who owns it and go to them and say, look, we could at least clean it up. See if we can clean it up. Might take 2 or 3 or 4 years, but down the road, if you can finally get all of it cleaned up enough that you could grow a healthy something for people, why not? Why not? We need to be doing it all over the world as far as growing. Starting in the cotton world. If we just started growing hemp where all the cotton was, and then we could use the hemp to take the chemicals that they've been using on cotton for as long as they have to grow it, and start cleaning that soil up. This is absolutely destroyed now, has zero value, and they just keep pumping the chemicals on the crops every year to get them to produce the cotton, that's destroying the planet slowly. So yes, let's look into phytoremediation programs anywhere you can in your community. Again, the 100-foot from a building may be hard in a kind of an inner city. That's why we won't be able to grow industrial hemp for grain in any of the inner city farming, no matter where it is. That's because they're all butted up to a building. And so, that's the ridiculousness in Ohio. If you're going up there in a couple of weeks to talk to Ohio, tell them that building restrictions is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. There's no reason why we can't just plant it right up to a building. It's not going to do anybody harm. There's no harm they can do. It can only do good. And so, that's definitely something in Ohio that we need to remove, are all these criminal sounding regulations. 100 foot from a building, 500 feet from a school. It's just that to me is just ridiculous, in all honesty. And so there you have it, Amy. I hope that helps. Sounds like a project that may be willing to help you with as well. So, folks, thanks for tuning in to the High Noon Hemp Show. We are everywhere: podcast, iHeart, Podbean, all those places. You can watch the show on YouTube at the Jedi Hemp channel. If you hit the Facebook page, and of course, go to the website. You can shop from the website. You can get all the information on the events from the web. And that's it. That's a wrap for season 6, episode 1. I am Beach. That is Joe. Remember, reduce, reuse, recycle. Make everything else out of hemp. Having Hemptations.
See you all next week.